Hi, everybody. Before we start this episode, I just wanted to say that they don't tell you that grief has its own clock. It doesn't follow calendars, it doesn't follow anniversaries, it just shows up. And it shows up in the song that we hear, it shows up in the empty chair that you see at the dinner table. For me, it shows up when I see a movie that pertains to the grief that I have. And in a way, it also shows up in sometimes a smell that takes you back to that person, the moment where you feel like where it reenacts or creates a scenario, an environment of your pain. And sometimes grief shows up in a way that we would never expect. But for today's guest, it shows up with wings. It shows up with feathers, and it shows up with the color red. And so I wanted to say that before I go into our usual. So welcome back to Be Frank, everybody. This is a space where we have real, raw, honest conversations that create a space for healing and challenge us, not just to be victims, but also to be accountability partners and take accountability of our actions and our mental health. Today's guest is someone who, I'll say this, not a mental health therapist like I am, but we has also been in that space and has experienced grief, has gone through it, and she's someone whose story grabbed me from the moment that we hit it. She is Diandra Ford-Wing, the one, the only, the legend herself. She she is an author, she's a storyteller, she's a woman who's lived through the kind of loss that can break you. Like it's broken so many people. But instead, she found a way to let her grief shape her into something stronger. She has a book called The Red Bird, and personally, when I read that book, I realized that it's a journey through grief and resilience, and actually the surprising ways that this universe or whatever you believe in, for me, is like God speaks to us when we need it the most. So I want to say, Deandra, welcome, welcome, welcome to Be Frank, and I really appreciate you trying to be frank with us. So I wanted you to say a little bit introduction about yourself, like I just did, but a little bit about yourself before we go into the podcast episode.
Absolutely, Frank. Thank you for having me on the show. And I just want to say that, like Frank said, I'm someone who has navigated the waters, the choppy waters of grief. And I lost my aunt and my mom in close succession. And it really took me to a place that I didn't think I could get to. And that's why I wrote the book Redbird. I wanted others to understand that the way that we grieve is not contingent upon who we are as a person. It's just what we need to get through the process.
Yeah.
So, thank you for having me on the show, and I'm so happy to be here.
No, thank you. Thank you. So before we get on the journey, like I said, Redbird gave me a perspective that grief is a journey,
Yeah,
and we want to see what your journey is. But I want to also share personally why your story hit me so hard.
yeah,
Personally, I've had like, my own moments with loss, losing loved ones. And like I was telling you earlier, it's like I lost my cousin. And, there's that shock that comes with losing someone because you always think, oh, I have them for a lifetime.
yeah.
It's in the phone call that you missed that you said, I'll just call this person, tomorrow, and then tomorrow becomes a week, and then the minute you pick up the phone is the day that you find out that you're gone.
Mm,
And it's the moments that you expect them to call you back or come back into your life, and then they're just gone. And so hearing Redbird and reading Redbird, it reminded me of how certain signs or small moments kept me going in my own grief. It
yeah.
reminded me of why I need to keep pushing as opposed to just stopping, because the world is not stopping. So that's part of why I knew I wanted us to have this conversation. And for all our listeners out there, it's this is the first time that we decided to have a video segment. And I'm glad that this is our pioneering video for this because life has happened. And for those hearing my story and your story for the first time, I want you to share who, I think is Sandra was to
Yes,
you.
my mom.
And
Yeah.
yes, Sandra was to you. I want you to share who your aunt was to you. And not just in the titles of mom and auntie, even though that's what they existed as, but in the way that they shaped your life.
Yeah. So I'll start with my mom. She was so special. And I would pick her to be my mother in this lifetime, in every lifetime, because she
That's
was
powerful.
just the best mom that I
Yeah.
could ever have hoped for. She was an educator, and
Oh, she was
she,
strict.
yes, she wasn't strict in the sense where we couldn't do anything, but she was strict in the sense of you better have some sense.
Oh,
Ye- Yes, I've taught
yes.
you what you need to know, so have some sense.
Mm,
And I think it's kind of funny now that I'm talking about her in the past tense because she was such the focal point of my life. Um, Losing her, I prepared myself for it. A couple of years prior to her passing, I started prepping. I know that sounds really morbid and really weird, but I had the sense about 2 years ago that she wasn't going to be around for much longer.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
especially after her sister died, she really took it very, very hard. And
Mm-hmm.
she never got over her sister's death. And when
Mm.
she died, some 13, 14 months later, I was just like, oh,
You
okay.
knew. You knew it
I,
was
I
coming.
knew. I knew that it was coming. And she had never been sick. She had never, like, I remember my childhood and her never being sick. She was always there for us.
Mm.
And a day before she passed away, she had been complaining of a sinus infection. She had gone to the doctor and they said that she was dehydrated. So they had
Wow.
given her an IV bag of fluids at the doctor's office and sent her home with the script that she ended up picking up from the pharmacy. And the next day she was gone. So it was really, if you knew my mom, you would know that this is the way that she wanted to go out. She didn't want there to be a whole bunch of pomp and circumstance. She didn't want people, being grief stricken about her being sick or
Yeah.
anything of that nature. I really understood why she left this world the
The
way
way
that
she
she
did.
did, with such dignity, with such poise. And it was
Yeah.
very just, it was her, it was on brand for my mom. And I'm just so thankful that
Yeah.
she chose the way that she wanted to leave this world.
Yeah.
And
You
that's all
know.
I can say about that.
And you touched on something that's very, I'll say very intriguing. Like you said that you were mentally preparing yourself,
Yes.
right? And I feel like some people who are fortunate enough, or I'm not say fortunate, but unfortunate, fortunately, they have that space and time where they could say goodbye because, this is something that you can see that is
Yeah.
coming. Are you ever mentally prepared to, you know, deal with that loss?
No. I mean, when she died, it was a work day, obviously. It was a Wednesday afternoon. And it's so fitting because I was born on a Wednesday afternoon.
Um, oh wow.
And I just, I remember that it was the most beautiful day. It was gorgeous. It was sunny. It was just a vibrant blue sky, no clouds in the sky kind of day. And I had been holed up in my office, for most of the day because we were doing end of quarter stuff and trying to make the numbers
Hmm.
work and all that kind of jazz. I'm in sales. But
Yeah.
I just, when I saw the number of calls that I had missed from my sisters, I knew that something was coming. I knew that something bad was happening or had happened.
Hmm.
And just the lead up to figuring out that my mom may be in some kind of trouble, I had called 911. I live in
Mm-hmm.
Austin, Texas. My mom lived in Killeen, Texas. They dispatched me to the 911 operator in Killeen in her town. And I just said, you need to send someone to my mom's house for a wellness check. And I had talked to my older sister who lived very, very close to my mom. And she was on her way to her house. And we were on the phone speaking when she had arrived. And when she discovered my mom just in her room, dead, it was something that the blood curdling cries from my sister. I will never ever want to
Yeah.
experience that again. I don't know what that did to her. She administered CPR, but at that point it was too late. And the
Yeah.
EMS team had arrived and they took over chest compressions and all that stuff for my sister. And they pronounced her dead within a couple of
Yeah.
minutes. So I know that I told you that I was prepping for my mom's death. I had felt it coming,
Yeah.
but I didn't know how it was going to show up. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't know how I would feel, but
Mm-hmm.
I just remember just the breath being taken out of
Just
me.
take it out. Sure.
Just,
Wow.
it was a pain that I never want to experience again.
Yeah.
Like the initial shock was
And
a
it was
lot.
like it just hit you.
Yeah, like
And
a ton of bricks.
even though you knew it was coming, it's like,
Yeah,
is this really here right now?
I know.
So,
That's exactly what I was thinking.
and I relate to that strongly because, but I lost my dad, what, 10 years ago.
Yeah,
And some way, somehow, I still remember the first day that I got the news.
yeah.
Like everyone was scared to tell me the day that it happened. I think I was told like 2 weeks after. I
What?
just I just came back from school and then there was like a priest waiting for me and I'm
Oh
like,
no.
yeah, I know my family's Anglican, but we don't my mom and I don't go to an Anglican church. So I'm like, why is this priest over here? Like, who are
Yeah,
you? What do you want? Man puts me in his car, drives me. I still remember the route we took and it's the minute he told me, and funny enough, I was really young. I think I was, I'm gonna age myself here, but it's like 11, 12 at the
okay.
time. And I knew like leading up to that, I wasn't hearing from my dad. I knew there was something off,
Yeah,
but I just shrugged it off. And then I remember being told that day, everything in me just shut down.
yeah.
Every single thing. So it's making me wonder, because for you, what was that period like for you, like emotionally and spiritually? Because I can say for me, spiritually in particular, I um I just gave up. Like I just gave up on believing who God is. I just gave up in believing who what religion is.
Yeah.
I just gave up entirely on religion, spirituality. I hated God so much, stopped going to church even, and it just sent me down a very dark hole, spiritually and emotionally.
Of
And
course.
so I wonder, what was that period like for you? Because for me, I did not mentally prep. So someone can say, oh, it makes sense that it go down a dark road, but I feel like for other people and their mental health, even though they are ready, even though, they've seen their parents sick in the hospital or they've seen their kids sick in the hospital and they know that they have, 3 months to live and
Hmm.
they're ready for it, they still go down a period of darkness emotionally and spiritually.
Yeah.
So what was that period like for you?
When I got home that night, when we had left my mom's house, after
Hmm.
the medical examiners had left, after the police had left, we just, my brother and sisters and I, we just said, we'll get back together tomorrow to go through mom's things and figure out what she wanted.
Yeah.
And so I went home, I went back to Austin, and I just felt wasted. I felt like, I felt like, honestly, like the wind had been taken out of my sails. Like I just was defeated and depleted. And so
Wow.
I get home, I'm in my room, and my husband walks in and he's like, "What do you need?"
Mm.
And I said, "I need to scream." And
Yeah.
I let out this guttural just yell from the bottom of my soul. And
Hmm.
I felt a little better at that point, but I folded. I really
Hmm.
did. The days leading up to her memorial, all I could focus on was the fact that we had to deliver a good homegoing for my mom.
Yeah.
And I eulogized my mom at her
Hmm.
memorial. And I really just went into fight or flight mode. I knew that I
Mm.
had to get through this day, I had to get through the ceremony and deliver this speech. And that got me through. I'm the kind of person that's type A. And so when I
Hmm.
have a goal, something I have to do, I can easily
You get.
take my mind off something
Yeah.
that's actually the crux of the problem.
Hmm.
And honestly, that saved me. Just having to really think about how I wanted to memorialize my mom, how I wanted to eulogize her, that really helped me take the pain out of the
Yeah.
pain, if that makes
Mm.
sense.
Yeah. No.
You know,
Uh,
after the funeral, I really, really went into a dark place. I quit my job. I couldn't
mm.
function. I was just a mess. And then I started writing this book. It
Mm.
started off as a journal entry, and I was like, well, wait a minute, there's more that I want to say. What do I do with this? And so it took me about 11 months to finish, the book, edit it, and then find who I would want to publish it. And
Yeah.
when I got the publisher, it was Amazon. I went through them, but they helped me with the cover. They helped me with the additional editing and all that stuff. And it was
Mm.
just a passion project, something
Yeah.
that I really, really wanted to get out there for people who were struggling like I was.
Hmm.
And it was just a testimony, a testament to the love and admiration that I had for my
Yeah.
mom and my aunt.
Yeah.
And that was it. That really
Yeah.
helped me.
And I do want to say this for everybody that is listening to us. This is not even like a marketing scheme or anything. I just want
No.
to say that, like I said, I lost my cousin very recently as
Yeah.
well.
And I'm
And
sorry for your loss.
thank you. Thank you. And I will say reading Redbird, funny enough, I was no longer reading it from, a research perspective for,
Yeah.
our episode, but I was relating to the story. I
Yeah.
was relating to what was your chapters were being said. And I'm gonna go into that, but you said something that really caught my eye, or not my eye, my ear.
Your ear.
You said that you were asked, what do you need?
Yeah.
And I feel like from where I'm from, like from Ghana, um, majority of the time when someone loses someone, they're not asked, what do you need? They're told what they need. You're
Yes.
told you don't need to cry. And similar to you, I'm a type A person. Like I can take my emotion out of everything and then say, this is the task at hand, let's get it done.
Yep.
And I've been told severally by therapists that sometimes I overdo it, so I don't allow myself the space to grieve. So I guess it's good and bad, but coming back to the question is like, I was never asked, what do you need? I was
Yeah.
told, you don't need this. You don't need to cry. You don't need to do this. You don't need to do that. And again, this is the emotional manipulation of the world. When people see that you've lost someone, they now attribute your moral values or the wrong things that you do. Do you think this person will be proud to see you doing this?
Oh, the worst.
And I'm like, this is not a time to make me,
No.
it's like someone who's depressed, who is eating, or have an eating disorder out of depression.
Yep.
And then they're getting, increasing the weight and they're getting bigger and bigger and it's depressing them more. You don't tell them that, oh, are you happy with how you look? You're gonna push them down.
Yeah.
So I want to. I just wanted to touch on real quick what that question meant for you, the power that question gave you,
I
just
really
to
had to
highlight
think
the
about it.
significance to everybody.
Yeah, I really had to think about it when my husband said, "What do you need?" Very
Mm,
pointedly, very like matter of fact, "What can I do for you? What do you need?" That really just it really resonated with me. And to
yeah,
have someone ask you that question in the midst of this crisis, that whatever crisis it is, doesn't matter what it is. You could be
yeah,
losing your job. If someone says, "What do you need?" it comes from a place of care. It comes from a place of, "I just want to help." And my husband saying that in that moment really, really touched me to a
hmm
point that I will never, ever forget
yeah,
that one question. It did wonders for me, and it was
yeah,
so simple that what I really needed to do in that moment was scream.
just green.
I
And
needed to
it
do
was
it.
just that, just have that outlet.
Yeah, it was like at the bottom of my throat, and I could
Hmm
feel it wanting to come out. And so
hmm
when he asked me that question, I was like, "Oh, easy, I need to scream, I
Just
want
need
to
to scream.
scream." And
Like,
he said, "Go for it." And so I did. And like I said, it was guttural. It was something that I feel like the house was shaking
yeah,
when I did it. I was like, "Oh, that felt so good."
good.
It
Yeah,
felt really good. And then, of course,
especially,
the crying came, you know.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, but especially for someone who's very like goal oriented and everybody expects you to be calm and collected, you just
Yeah.
need that moment of release. Yeah,
Yes. That's what I
yeah.
needed. And I hope that anyone going through something like this has a Ben, my husband's name is
hmm
Ben, has a Ben in their life to say, "What do you need?
Yeah.
What can I do?"
Funny, that's literally what. So you remember, there's another podcast, a friend who's a very close friend of mine, and Miss JJ, and I remember she and my boss, Ben and Steve. So I also had my Ben. But there's a question they both asked me at different times that I really appreciated. Like,
Yeah.
what do you need? And it was just, especially in the workspace, it was just amazing to see how my team just, took everything I was working on and say, just take that time for yourself. And
Yes.
Miss JJ just kept calling me, what do you need?
Yeah.
Like, if you need us to look at people watch and laugh, we'll do that. Like, what do you need?
Yeah.
So, but we have those moments, where people who are listening, they know loss and they need a Ben in their life, but they don't have a Ben, you know, and but they don't have anyone to talk to about those quiet moments because sometimes Ben is not around, whether it's
I
a Miss
know.
JJ or Ben or dad or mom, whoever, they're not around and it's just you. Those mornings when you wake up, the drives to work, the store, the little things that hurt, what were some of those quiet moments for you that hit you? That, oh my God, like mom or aunt is really gone.
You know what I realized when you just asked that question? The muscle memory, the wanting to pick up the phone, the wanting
Mm, mm,
to just do it subconsciously. Like I would pick up the phone, I'd pick up my phone and be like dialing my mom's number. Like just
mm,
muscle memory.
yeah,
And this happened on one occasion, I'd say like 2 weeks after she died. I was like, "Oh, let me call mom and tell her about something." I don't
this,
know what it was. And then I had to go, "Oh, shoot. She's not here."
yeah, yeah,
And then the grief starts all over again. There's never a subsequent time where I felt that the grief was quelled. It just kept recycling.
yeah,
It kept recycling into something else. And I'd be driving, like you said, to the store, or I would be coming home from work, or just whatever the thing is that I was doing at the time. I would be reminded
yeah,
that she's no longer here. And
mm,
those are what those quiet moments look like.
feel like, yeah,
Sometimes you forget for just a nanosecond, and
that
then you're
they're gone.
reminded. I know, and then you're reminded again. And
Yeah,
it's such a vicious cycle. And that's the
yeah,
story of grief. It just keeps recycling. It turns on its head It
Hmm.
turns out into something completely different than what you thought it was going to be when it
Yeah.
started.
Yeah.
It's just an ever evolving thing. It's like the tide of the ocean. It never stays the same. It
And
never is still.
I'm gonna take that sound bite. I'm gonna take that quote and put it because people need to understand that grief is not just a, it's not just an event that happens and then it's
Yes.
over. No.
No.
And it's funny you said muscle memory because this actually happened to me quite recently where, so like I said, my dad passed away and the next father figure that stood in my life, and I will always honor him in those moments, is he's called Emmanuel or Donald actually.
Okay.
So I call him Uncle Yima. And he's the one person I was always going to with every achievement. I get an award, I text him. I fail at something, I text him. Like he knows things that my mom would never know
Mm,
till date. And I remember that I hit a huge milestone in my journey in the United States, and he's the first person I wanted to text. So I texted his wife. We shared that moment, but it was still not enough. And his phone number was there. And I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna just text him. So I
yeah.
sent him the pictures and I texted him. I said, your boy did it. Like what we've been struggling to do, what we've been fighting to do, I finally did it.
Mm.
And I think my auntie had his phone and she responded through his text and I'm reading the text right now. He said, he's smiling down at you. Congratulations, uncle is proud of you. He says you haven't seen anything yet. Even the sky won't be your limit. Love you.
Oh.
And I remember when that text came in, I was alone in my room in my quiet moment, and I just fell to the ground. And
Mm.
I broke down louder than I've ever broken down it before.
Oh, Frank.
And it that's what people don't realize that the muscle memory comes in where you want to share those moments and the quiet times activate when you want to reach out, but there's no one else to reach out to.
Yes.
And you want to move on, but you can move on. It's, you just learn to live with it.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of like circling, um, you segmenting that, what would you say is like, did you ever feel that pressure similar to me where it's like, I felt like I needed to move on, but at that moment, I just wanted to text him. I don't want to move on. I want to talk to my uncle. I want to talk to the man who's been a father in my life. Did you ever feel pressure from people around you to move on or
No.
be strong, or how how did you navigate not having those people and enjoying that support?
You know, I am so lucky because I have siblings that were as equally close to my mom as I was, if not more. So I have a brother. He's older. He's my older brother.
Mm.
He's the oldest of all of us. And I have two sisters. One's my twin, and the
Oh,
other's my
nice.
older sister. And having those strong attachments to those people, those three people in my life, really, really helped me on my journey because we helped each other. One day, like my brother was really feeling down, and we talked, and he was crying. He missed mom, and we just bounce off of each other. We One day I'm strong and he's not so strong. One day I'm weak and my other sisters are, together and they're able to help
Mm.
me get through what I'm going through. So, like I said, the grief, ebbs and flows. It never stays the same. And some days I'm good. I'm the strong one. And then the other days I'm not doing so hot. And that's
Yeah.
when I can reach for my sisters and my brother to help
Mm.
me. And if I did not have those familial relationships with my brother and sisters, I don't know where I would be. I don't know what I
Yeah.
would be doing. I have my husband, but sometimes you need the
Yeah.
connections that know
Of
the
someone who
loss.
feel. Yeah.
Yes, that know the loss that you know. And who else
Hmm.
is going to know that better than my siblings? No
Yep.
one. Because they knew my mom in every
Hmm.
sense of the word. They knew my mom as much as I did.
Yeah.
And to have that common ground with someone, makes the grief journey so much more palatable. It makes it
Hmm.
easier to navigate.
Yeah. And I know from coming from like a background or a culture where, people, and we're blacks, like
Yeah.
we have to be strong here.
Yes. Yes.
And I know for me, back home, people didn't always know what to say. So sometimes they said nothing, and that
Hmm.
silence, could feel just as heavy as, the grief itself.
Yes.
And they always say, move on, or for example, for me, every single year, once it's like my dad's birthday or, my uncle's birthday, it reminds you of the pain. What do you say to people who are not on the receiving end of grief or who are not experiencing it, but are seeing other people experience it and they feel like, I mean, it's been 10 years, why you not over it yet?
Oh my God. To those people, I just say, think about how you would feel. Think about how you would be gutted if someone that has been the constant in your life suddenly passes away. You
Hmm.
have to take yourself out of the equation and have empathy. Be empathic to those who have gone through a loss so significant that it's hard for you to place yourself in their shoes, but at the same time, you have the wherewithal to know that what they're going through is something so heavy, so poignant, that it does take time to get through. You will never get over it.
Yep.
Grief is something you never get over
Mm.
it. You have to go through the process. But what I
Yeah.
find to be really interesting is that the people in my life, they've never said to me, are you over it yet?
Mm.
Are you okay? Like they know intuitively, like based on who I am as a person, that it will
Yeah.
take years for me to get
Together.
through this.
Not get over, get through.
But yes, yes, that is the major thing that you have to understand is that there is no getting over a loss like this.
Hmm.
There is no
There's
such
not.
thing. Doesn't
It
exist.
really doesn't. And I hope and pray that people who say those things do not experience it themselves.
I know.
But Um, and just to kind of segue into this part of where your book talks about, or your book shows how grief is a journey. Personally, I'm a big believer that, God or the universe or whatever anyone wants to call it finds ways to speak to us.
Mhm.
And kind of bringing your book down to this is how did those, first of all, before we even get to how did those red bird moments, keep you going, where does Redburst come from? Like, I know where it comes from, which I just find the story very significant. And I would say I've been looking around for a Redbird, but I guess
You
mine is
can't
showing
go
up in a different way.
Yes, you can't go looking for them. So my family and I, we believe in symbols and signs and things that can tie in your own lived experience with nature or with something,
Mm.
with anything. It could be a butterfly. It could be a freaking duck. It doesn't even
Well,
matter.
yeah,
It just so
it could be the
happens that
wind.
I know it could be the wind. And for us, we had long identified that redbirds hold a significance for our family. And I remember at my granddad's funeral, I think it was in 2021 when he passed, um, my niece Jaden, she was looking out the window, and there were these two cardinals, two redbirds, out on the yard of my granddad's house, and she's like, "Oh, look, there's two redbirds," and my mom was just like, "Yep, that's nothing but Papa telling us that he's okay, that he made
Hmm.
it to the other side." And it's a showy bird. It's a beautiful bird. It can't be mistaken for anything else. So that's why it's so significant for our family. And I
Hmm.
did not see a redbird immediately after my mom died. It wasn't
Hmm.
until some months later that I saw one just randomly walking down the
That
street
came
one day,
up.
walking my dogs. And I just was overwhelmed with just gratitude that she was showing herself to me, that she was saying, I'm still here. I'm looking
Hmm.
out for you. I'm hanging over you. I'm always
Yeah,
going to be there for you.
yeah,
And I just knew in that moment that Redbird would be the title of my book because
yeah.
I knew that it was something that all of us could identify with. It held such
Hmm.
significance for our family, and it just meant a lot. And there's a saying that goes, when the red bird appears, angels are near.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I need my angels up here right now.
Yeah.
No, but so would you say that seeing those red birds or having those moments is what kept you going?
Yes, just the hope that I could see one. I
Mm.
remember talking to my mom in my bedroom one night because I was just angry with her. I was mad because she wasn't coming to me in my dreams. I
Hmm.
hadn't really smelled her. I didn't feel connected with her
Hmm.
spirit. And I was
Yeah.
talking to her out loud in my bedroom and I was like, "Mom, I don't know what's going on, but you got to show yourself to me in some kind of way because I'm starting to lose hope. I'm starting
Yeah.
to lose my faith. So can you help
Mm.
me?" And the next morning I saw a red bird when I was walking my dogs. And I was like,
Oh.
"Thank you." And my
Yeah.
faith was just like that, restored. Just like
Hmm.
that.
And from like a mental health perspective, and people who are not sensitive to things like this, like signs like this,
Yeah.
was there ever a moment where maybe you explained this to someone and they made you feel like you imagined, or you personally you felt I imagined that did I actually see a red bird, or am
Yeah.
I just being they say am I just being delulu? Am I being delusional? Am I seeing stuff now?
No, no one could ever shake my faith. And I really believe to my core, to my spirit, that
Hmm.
this is the thing that is going to keep us connected.
Yeah,
It has to be.
it has to be.
Yeah, there's
And
no other way.
I've had moments like that too, where you ask for a sign, and I feel like that's why I keep mentioning like spirituality in this, where
Yeah.
a lot of people underplay the power of our words because we can actually manifest something.
Oh, yes.
So I remember like there are times where I asked for a sign and I got something so oddly specific that
I
I could not
know.
be. I'm like, is someone listening to me?
Yes,
Like,
they are.
I'm getting goosebumps even
I
thinking
know,
about
me too.
something.
But they're
I'm like,
listening. They're
they
listening to you.
are.
Yes, the
And
universe. Yes.
what would you say to someone who's listening and who desperately is looking for a sign? And it's like, I'm looking for a sign, I'm asking for a sign, and I'm not seeing anything. What would you say to that person? Because you did mention earlier that you don't go looking for the red bird.
No. I was
Okay,
just going to
fine.
say, stop looking. And
Mm,
in the moments where you're not even thinking about, where's my sign? Where's my sign? It'll appear. It's
mm-hmm.
very simple. It's the law of attraction. Whatever your spirit is tugging at you will be pulled to you in one
Yeah,
fashion or another. You have to stop looking and just be and sit with it, and then it'll come to you. Whatever that
yeah,
sign is, whatever that symbol is, whatever that tugging is, it will
yeah.
find you.
No, thank you. Thank you.
Of
And
course.
just from a grief as a journey perspective, what would you say, like writing Red Bird, it couldn't have been easy for
No,
you.
no.
So, what was the moment that you decided to put pen to paper?
You know, it was right after the funeral. I was just thinking to myself, do I really want to go back to this job?
Mm-hmm.
I had been there for 6 months and I was the director of inside sales for an MSP, which is a managed services provider.
Yeah.
So I did that for 6 months, and
And
two
you worked your
weeks
way to get there. And
I
now,
did. And I just couldn't appreciate it. It wasn't speaking to me the same way that it
mm-hmm.
was since my mom had passed away, since my aunt had passed away, and just all these things. And so it was another Wednesday
Mm.
afternoon.
Wow.
I
It looks like
know.
your Wednesday's a sign for you at this
I
point.
know. It was another Wednesday. I'm sorry, it was a morning. It wasn't an afternoon, it was a morning.
Okay.
But I picked up the phone. As soon as I woke up, I was like, do it, Deandra. And what I meant by do it is call your boss and say, this is your last day.
Mm.
Like, you're not giving any
That's
notice.
bold.
I did. I called her at 7:30 in the morning. I was like, hey, I know you're busy, but I just wanted to let you know that this certifies this notice that I will no longer be working for this company after this
Hmm.
moment. And she was struck. She was like, do you want to give it some thought? Are you sure? You've been through a
Yeah.
lot. And I'm like, yeah, because I've been through a lot, I know that I don't have time to waste. So
Hmm.
thank you for the opportunity, but I
Hmm.
will not be continuing on this path with this company.
Yeah.
So in that moment, that day, I started writing Redbird
Hmm.
and I never looked back. Never looked back.
And it woke you up. And
Yeah.
I want you to speak to the power of that, because yes, there are several people who are going through grief, especially,
Yeah.
men who don't even want to talk about their grief,
Yeah.
and women who can talk about their grief, but then are not really given the space to really appreciate it because they're just
Yeah.
victimized and not woken up. And what you said is just powerful. Like, you just pick up a phone and drop a director level position.
Yeah.
No notice, no thinking, right?
No.
And a lot of people would say that's rash, but I would say no, because that's what led to me going into spoken word, which has led me down to podcasting,
Yeah.
right? Is your your pain, you said this earlier, it's a passion project. Your
Mm-hmm.
pain led to your passion, and that's how you're continuing your life. Like,
Yes.
what made you say, I'm waking up? Like, what's that power behind, I need to do this for myself? I don't have time to waste. Because so many
When
people are wasting time.
I know, dude, when you lose someone, it puts so much in perspective. Like, you don't have time to waste. You don't have time to be hemming and hawing about what you're going to do, what direction you're going to
Mm,
take in your life. Just do it. Whether
mm,
or not it's a rash decision or
just
if
do
you've
it.
given it deep introspection, deep thought, it doesn't matter. If you hold true to what it is that you want to do with your life, you have to act on it. And there is
Mhm.
no time like the present.
Yeah.
And in that moment, I felt empowered to do this
Mm,
because my mom would have said, girl, what are you wasting your time for? You know you don't want to do this,
yeah.
so act on it.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
took what I knew from my mother, everything
Okay.
that she taught me in that moment, and I stood up for myself and I said, no, I don't want to do this. And I thank you for the opportunity, but this isn't what's calling me right now.
Yeah.
This is not for me.
Yeah.
So I would just strongly encourage anyone who doesn't feel that they can be empowered to take a
Mm,
step, to take a leap like that. It doesn't have to be you quitting your job. It could be you saying no to a relationship. It could be any of those things.
that's powerful. Because I know some people who have lost people, like listeners, or to be frank. And um, I did ask this person before I put in their business out there, if I can share this. He was talking to me about how he doesn't want to break up with his wife or leave his wife
Hmm.
because he's afraid of, losing another person.
Oh.
And th he says, according to his side of the story, because I don't know her side of the story, so according to his side of the story, he's lost his mom, he's lost his aunties, he's lost his kids with from a previous marriage,
Oh.
and now he's with this woman who doesn't even want him to have pictures of his kids around. Doesn't
Oh my
want
God.
doesn't even want him to have pictures of his mom around. She's like, "You're inviting the dead into my house." I'm like,
What?
"Why are you still with this person?" And he's like, "I'm scared I'm gonna be alone." And
That
that's
is,
a reason why a lot of people can't take the step. So to him specifically, and I know he's gonna watch this and have follow-up questions, but to him specifically, what would you say?
do you want to spend your life with someone who does not make you feel like you
Mm,
have the space, a safe space in which to mourn the loss of some significant people in your life, citing that it's
yeah,
bringing the dead into your relationship? Do you
yeah,
know? Do you know how positive and how spiritual it is to have your ancestors and those that you've loved watching over you? It's not anything negative. It's
Hmm.
not. It is a beautiful thing to keep the traditions alive, to keep the people that you hold close to your heart
Yeah.
around you in spirit. It is
Yeah.
very, very important. So I would just look to him and say, is it worth it to be with someone who makes you feel like your feelings don't matter, but other than being alone? I would rather
Hmm.
be alone with my loved ones in spirit around me,
So it's
bringing
more like,
positive energy.
do you want to just survive or do you want to live?
Yeah, do you want to live? Like what are you doing? You're just existing at this point.
That,
So
and that's
I
how he
would search
feels.
him. I would really want to search him and ask him if you can find the part of you that is tied to your family. What would they say? Would they
Hmm.
want to be forgotten?
Yeah,
Surely you don't want to forget them.
exactly.
And there's no sin in keeping them around you in spirit.
Hmm. And I do agree. And I'm really hoping that as you're listening to this, you are being empowered like Deandra was, and you take that step. Hey,
Yeah,
you break up today with someone, you can find another person who will be that. So, I mean, he's still going through it, and I think it was quite recently. But besides him, and like I said, besides him, what do you hope that people walk away with? Like after reading Redbird, I know what I walked away with. I
tell
walked
me.
away reading the book, I would say, especially this week, I walked away realizing that there's not a time to give up. Like, I was saying earlier on, it's I need to live in order to have them live through me. It's
Exactly.
like telling someone I want to live vicariously through you. It's they're only alive in the things that I do to honor them.
Oh yeah,
And
powerful.
and I need to do that. Like that's the thing. And the red bird for me, or whatever it shows up for me, would be my guiding light to say, this is the direction you should be going on. And even if it doesn't show up, I'm still gonna immortalize them to
Yeah,
define me.
yeah.
That's why I walked away. I'm like, I'm not giving up.
And I hope that others walk away with that same clarity. Because frankly, Frank, because
To be frank.
to be frank, that's why I wrote the book, because I was looking for clarity. I was looking for some peace. And I wanted
Hmm.
others to feel the same thing that I felt when I finished, with Redbird. I wanted peace. And Redbird gave
Hmm.
me that. It gave me
Yeah,
my wings. Honestly, it did. Because now I feel like there is nothing that I cannot do. There's
yeah,
nothing that is insurmountable. No way. I did
yeah.
this. I can surely do any damn thing at this
Anything else?
point.
I mean, was there to lose?
What is there to lose? Exactly.
That's literally what I got. It was like, what's there to lose? Like,
Nothing.
yeah.
You'll just
And
walk away a better person.
that's
Period.
it. That's it. So, and you said like writing the book wasn't easy, and even quitting the job. And I think you said every page was like, reopening a wound,
Yeah.
but also, also that it was necessary. So, what
Yes.
was it about putting these stories on paper that felt healing for you?
I talk about so many different things other than loss in this book. I
Mm-hmm.
talk about my mental health. I talk
Yeah.
about, being committed to a mental facility for a little while. And I talk about, body image issues and just
Yeah.
image issues, period. It doesn't have to be body, it could just be about your whole image in and of itself. But I really, really wanted the actions behind the things that I spoke about were all just tied to this major theme, which was loss and grief and all of that. Because at every stage of my life, I've grieved some facet of myself that I didn't
Mm-mm.
realize that either I wanted or I wanted to keep. So I really, really just talking about the shame of trying to end my life and the grief of not succeeding,
Yeah.
those are all similar themes and tie into the major theme of just losing someone very, very close to you, like your mother, like your
Yeah.
father, like your grandparents. It's just, I really felt the need to not just talk about the
Just
losing, but
losing.
what I've gained as well
To
throughout
find him.
every single stage of my life. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what gave, I'll say that's for me, that's what gave me power in from the book.
Yes.
It's like
Yes.
it's like, what are you doing, bro? Like, what are you doing? You
Yeah.
know,
What are you doing?
that's why I want to be very real with our listeners through these conversations. And as I said, to be frank, is not about, just being the victim. It's also recognizing that you are also the culprit if you don't do anything about it.
Yes.
Like, I
Yes.
have this amazing celebrity, an author who's willing to give me her Saturday morning, hop on the call. And I was about to self-sabotage because I was grieving. It's like
Yeah.
the people that you lose, will they want you to just give up?
Give up. No.
No. Hey, what's the worst that can happen? The recording doesn't go through. I get another chance to talk to D again. So,
Yeah.
so but yeah, no, that's is very, very powerful that you don't just speak about losing, but you also speak about finding. And I think so many women and so many men who are, struggling with, success even in their communities, or just struggling with, like you mentioned, image issues, someone feeling like, oh, I have a gap in my teeth, so I'm not attractive enough, or I don't have a dimple, or I don't have six pack, as most
Yeah.
guys are struggling with, you
Yeah.
know. It's like there's more to life than just that.
Yeah, but think about all the things that make you rich, like your
Hmm.
friends, your family, the things that make you who you are. There's so many different elements to people that they can't just
Yeah,
focus on the things that are bringing them down because you lose. You
yeah,
lose every single time.
everything.
Why not win?
Yeah.
Why
And
not?
so, would you say winning is what is keeping your mom and your auntie's legacies alive? Like, what are the
Yeah.
ways you're keeping them, besides Redbird? Are there other ways that you're keeping them alive in your life right
Well,
now?
the other day, I have three little trees in my on my front porch around my
Mm-hmm.
deck, and one of them died a couple of like years ago, and I never replaced it. So I went to Home Depot and I bought a new Japanese privet. It's a shrub,
Okay.
and it thrives in the sun.
Mm.
And what I did was I took some of my mom's ashes, I dug up the
Oh,
dirt, and I took some of her ashes, put them in the dirt with the tree, and I planted it.
that's
And
cool.
every day I get to watch it grow. So
Mm-hmm.
that's how I pay homage to her. She got me
Yeah.
these wonderful wind chimes that
Mm-hmm.
I hung up on my deck as well. And every time I go out there and there's a slight breeze, she
You
sings for
know
me.
she's there.
I know she's there. And she's
Yeah.
directly underneath this tree planted into the ground. And she's under her wind chimes that she gave me.
Yeah.
And that's how I honor her legacy. I walk
Yeah.
by her urn every single day and I pray over it
Yeah.
because she's, though she's not here in the physical sense, I know that she hears me. I
Yeah.
know that she communicates with me in other ways. The same that I do for my aunt. I I'm writing a sequel to Redbird,
Oh, we
and
can't wait.
I'll be honoring her in that book as well as my mom, and just diving into the characters more and talking more about them as who they were as people. And
Yeah.
that's how I choose to honor them,
Yeah.
by talking about their legacy.
Mm. And first, let me say this because that was going to be like my last question of it towards the end. But since you brought it up, when can we get the sequel? Because we need to know more.
Yeah, well, um, I have to turn in my first chapters in October to my
Mm.
publisher.
Okay.
So wish me luck, but
Uh,
hopefully it'll be in 2026, early 2026.
okay. So we can't wait for that.
Yeah.
And we'll have you back here. because
Oh,
we love to talk about that
absolutely.
book too.
Oh my
Okay.
gosh, yes, obviously, duh.
Yeah, thank you. Um,
Of course.
but you did say something about like, having her in your front yard and everything, and we did talk a bit in the beginning about, manifesting and saying, being angry at your mom and saying, I need to see you.
Yes.
So we know they're here right now. We know that all the people that we've lost are always giving us power and strength. What would you say to them if, not if, like with them next to you right now? What would you say to them? Or
Thank
what
you.
would you want to say?
Just thank you. Thank you for
Yeah.
living your life in order for me to have mine.
Mm,
Thank you for everything, the love, the laughs, just the unbreakable bond that we had. Thank you for
yeah.
showing up for me
Yeah.
in this life and in
Yeah.
lives beyond.
Yeah. And I think anyone who's really experienced grief and has gone through the journey and is still going through it, but has reached that point of understanding. Because for me, there's the same thing I wrote down. It's just like, if I could speak to the ones I've lost, I'll tell them thank you as
Yes.
well. I'll
Yeah.
say, thank you for loving me through my mistakes,
Oh,
you
yes.
know, and teaching me the kind of love I want to give others. Like
Yes.
my uncle, my auntie, she's called Sister Ajua, my dad, my cousin, like they they're the reason why today I tell myself I want to love unconditionally. I don't
Mm-hmm.
care what you do to me, I will still love you. I can love you and not give you access, but I can still love you. So
Exactly.
I will love people unapologetically. I will love the best I can love because they love me through my mistakes. They love me through the arguments I had with them. They
Mm-hmm.
love me through the times I was missing their phone calls. They love me when I could not say goodbye,
Yeah.
but they still love me.
That's
So
right.
that's something I would say thank you.
Yeah.
And for someone in the thick of grief right now, I would just say to that person to make it through the next day, just talk to them.
Yeah.
But what would you say as well? What's your best piece of advice to just make it through the next day? Not even
Oh
the next
my
week
God.
or next year, just today.
Just today. That's a really good question. You really caught me off guard. Um,
Yeah.
I honestly think that I would just say what you said, talk to them. I know that they're not here. I know that you want to be able to have the banter back and forth, but they hear you. They hear you.
Hmm.
And they love to be visited. Just as much as you want to be visited by them, they love when you reach out and call out to them.
Yeah.
So that's what
Yeah.
I would say. Just to
Yeah.
get through the day, just talk.
Just
Talk.
talk. Just talk.
Yeah.
It's
Just
as
that's
simple
it.
as that.
It's
Just
very
talk.
simple.
And
Yeah.
one of my favorite parts is talk, when you say about talking, one of my favorite parts about is where you talk about the ways that you keep your mom and your aunt's presence alive.
Yeah.
Like that empowered me to say, how am I keeping these people alive as well?
It's a
And
good
you mentioned
question.
like it was like through traditions, you said it through language, even the way we show love to other people. So, which I know probably all of these, but which of these practices has been the most comforting to you to keep?
Oh, the ability to speak. Just to be
Mm,
able to talk to her out loud. I don't do it in my head. I actually physically say the words out loud
mm,
because on some level, I really do believe that my mom is around me all the time. She's around me
mm,
all the time. I feel her
yeah,
presence.
yeah,
I mean, I can just feel her presence.
present.
And the moment
Yeah,
that I don't feel that, I will
mm,
be really sad. But I don't think that ever will happen because we were so
yeah,
close. And she
yeah,
was so important to me. And she knows that I need her.
yeah,
Doesn't matter
yeah.
how old I
Oh,
am, I'll always need my
well,
mom.
thank you for saying that.
Yeah.
A lot of people feel like, okay, I'm old,
After
I'm
a
an
certain
older
age,
person.
no,
Yeah.
no. My mom mourned her mom's death, my grandmother, her whole life, her
Mm-hmm.
entire life. It was a
Mm-hmm.
fresh wound for my mom, living
Hmm.
with the death of her mom and the fact that she wasn't here. They were close. I thought me and my mom were close, but her and her mom, they were thick as thieves. They were
Yeah.
so thick. And she made it through. And I'm the only consolation that I have in my mom's passing is that she is now with her mother,
Hmm.
who
Hmm.
she mourned her
Hmm.
entire life. That gives me solace. The fact that she's with my aunt Sean, that she's with her father, that she's with her mother, that she's with her grandmother, like all
Yeah.
these wonderful people that were so close to her. She's with
Yeah.
them now, and they're just partying up there. They're just
Yeah.
having a good time.
That's what I said about my dad passing. I'm like, knowing
Yeah.
my dad, I know he's right down causing chaos up there. He's like, he's like, where's the party?
Where's the part? I'm here.
Yeah, and when I say that, people are like, "Are you okay in the head?" I'm like, listen, I know my dad.
I know my
Yeah,
mom. Yes.
yeah, like the angels are just like, oh my God, who did we just bring out here? So,
He sounds like a fun time.
oh, he is. He really
I
is. And when
love
he's
him. I
done, he just sits. When he's done, he just sits in the couch, knocks his head back, and he's gone. And I'm like, but yeah. And before I close this out, I mean, this hasn't even felt like a long conversation. I feel like there's 101
No.
things more. But before I close this out, is there anything you want to say, you want to ask, you want to put out there, before we close out?
Yeah, I just want people to really center themselves and really think about the peace that your loved ones are experiencing now, whether they went through a long battle of illness or whether it was abrupt, like my mom. Just know that your loved ones are definitely in a better place. Because think about this world right now that we live in. It's
Yeah,
kind of a joke, but
it is a joke.
it's kind of a dumpster fire right now.
Hmm.
But
Yeah,
um, the only thing that gives me comfort is the fact that she's with the loved ones that have since passed on with her.
yeah, yeah.
So just try to use that as a sense of peace.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
no, really, really appreciate that. And something I want to put out there too before I close out is tell our listeners that if you realize we did touch on the book a couple of times,
Yeah.
but this whole episode was centered on our personal experiences with grief to show where the book comes from. I think you should go read the book. Like I said, this is not a marketing scheme, but I didn't want to go chapter by chapter, line by line.
Of
It's
course.
where does grief come from you, from me, and from other people who are listening to us. And one of the things I really want our listeners to understand is that grief doesn't end. It changes the shape. It becomes lighter. Like you said, some days you're strong, some days you're down. And but if you look closely, and I mean when I say close, you really, really look, you will start to notice the signs. You'll realize maybe it's a memory that makes you smile instead of crying. Maybe it's a bluebird landing just close enough, to remind you that love doesn't leave. Like Deandra said, the presence of her mom is with her every single day because she
Yeah.
knows she needs her. And everything that you've lost, whether it's family, whether it's money, whether it's a job, whether it's yourself, it's still with you. And so it just finds new ways to visit. So I just want to say a big thank you. Thank you, thank you so much, Deandra. Thank you so much for making the time. Thank you so much for being patient. Thank you so much for sharing this story with us, not just on this podcast, but in your book as well, because it's really helped me from someone who just recently lost someone,
Yeah.
and it brought me out of another dark place. So I want to say a big
Wow.
thank you,
You're
not just for
welcome.
being here, but thank you for the book. And we need that sequel because
Thank you.
people are out there like myself who are willing to give up, but having that kind of inspiration out there pulls us out.
It does.
So And to our listeners, thank you so much for listening. Remember, you're not only a victim, but you are also an active participant in your mental health. So, like Deandra said, speak up. And hey, go be frank. But thank you. All right.